Hello, good evening. Let me flash the topic I want to discuss tonight. My name is Shegun Olo, and there is a topic that has been trending all day today on social media, and it's about Mr. Yinka Ayefele's building demolition by Governor Ajimobi in Oyo State. Well, let me begin by saying that I'm not here to give any verdict or to judge either of the parties. The only thing I have come online to do is that I have come online to look at the merit in the demolition exercise and also to pick the faults or the apparent holes in the action of the Mr. Governor. Let me begin by also apologizing that I came online very late. I just returned, and I felt like before the matter went down, I should also be able to add my own comments, and then I also want us to interact about it before it goes all down. Mr. Yinka Ayefele's building demolition, did Governor Ajimobi hear? Well, I'll begin by showing some reactions, protests, some comments already also on social media. But before I do that, I want us to set out with a mindset that neither of Mr. Yinka Ayefele or Mr. Constituted Ajimobi Authority is above the law. None of them is above the law. If anything contravenes the law, whether the action of Mr. Yinka Ayefele or that of Governor Ajimobi, it is very important for us to look at both. Mr. Yinka Ayefele is not above the law. Forget sentiment about whether his building is being demolished. Neither is Governor Ajimobi above the law. If there's a restraining order that it should tarry for courts to determine substantive suits on the matter before it proceeds to demolish, then neither of them is above the law. Let's just begin with that mindset so that we do not have biased mindset to determine or to discuss this matter. So I'm going to show you some of the reactions already on social media, including the protests that trailed this matter. Now, welcome back. Those are some of the reactions already on social media on this matter of demolition of Music house belonging to Mr. Yinka Ayefele by the government of Oyo State. Well, having said that, we do not want to judge, and at the same time, neither of Mr. Yinka Ayefele or the governor is above the law. It is therefore imperative for us to begin to look at the facts in the issue for both parties. Yes, this matter has antecedents, so that even if we do not want to say somebody heard the law, we can also deduce that it has political antecedents or undertone. Number one, upon resumption or assumption of office by Mr. Governor, he visited the radio station, according to a video we began to see since morning on social media, throwing back to when Mr. Governor visited Ayefele in that music house that accommodates or houses the Fresh FM radio station. And he said that some members of his cabinet had advised him to have demolished that building for the reason that Mr. Yinka Ayefele did not support his government or did not support their campaign during the election. That is a political reason. Now, two things we can deduce from that is that, number one, Mr. Yinka Ayefele's building may have contravened the law, but for political reason, the governor decided that he was not going to pull it down. That was then. Conversely, Mr. Yinka Ayefele's building contravened the law, and for political reason they would have demolished. But the governor said, no, we want to still extend time for you and see whether you will come on our side and we will no longer demolish. What does that imply? It simply implies that the Mr. Governor was only looking for Mr. Yinka Ayefele to become a political supporter, and then they will continue to contravene the law together. Otherwise, the power that be would do what was right, which simply means that it was not right for the building to have been there, but for political reason, it will still be right. Now, number two antecedents, and I'm going to show you this, I have it here, is that immediately after the recent crisis happened, where it was said that the government decided to demolish the abattoir and relocate or displace the people there, the radio station of Mr. Yinka Ayefele also did not support the government of Mr. Ajimobi by going online to have criticized the action. And then the lawyer, the solicitor of Mr. Yinka, of Mr. Governor, had also come online writing. Oh yes, I found the letter here. Let me. Yes, he came online to say, oh, you didn't support, we want you to retract this statement. Let me display clearly. I think it's a yes. Let me try zooming it for you to see. I want to read some part of it so that we can get it clearly. He said, okay, defamation in your radio program called Political Circle, demand for retraction, apology, and 500 million naira. We are solicitors to Governor Ajimobi, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, blah, 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 blah. In the course of the said program, Mr. Isaac Brown, a discussant, Daria Dekombi, maliciously and without any supporting evidence, stated in the said program, broadcast to the people of Oyo State, including the whole of Southwest and Kwara, that Governor Ajimobi is a shareholder of the new Central Abattoir and Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Well, long and short of that is, they are simply saying that Mr. Yinka Ayefele's radio station, for the second time, did not support Governor Ajimobi in controversial political terms or times, whichever one you want to call it there. But long and short of it, again, they have issue with Mr. Yinka Ayefele for the second time, therefore. And then the question we have to ask is, if you're doing this for the second time, you feel somebody hurt, but then you feel for political reason it could have been right. Okay, this antecedent already set Mr. Yinka Ayefele on the two parts. Number one, on the contravening part, and number two, on the political part. Now, this is where the merit is for Mr. Yinka Ayefele. Number one, you have been collecting tenement rate from him. Number two, he has been using that building for a very long time with government approval. And number three, he obtained TRO, called temporary restraining order, meaning that the court has said, pending when they determine the substantive suits, you may not proceed to demolition. But the government still went ahead on a Sunday morning before Monday to demolishing the property. What does this tell us? Something is absolutely not right. And that is exactly why we have to look at it. Well, for me, Mr. Yinka Ayefele was wrong to have built a structure that is obstructing right of traffic or the ways of traffic. But at the same time, the governor was also not right to have attached political reason to the non-demolition earlier, but coming back to demolishing it for the same political reason. Then number three is where all of us are fault as members of the public. We are all shouting and screaming for Mr. Yinka Ayefele because he's a popular or famous person. If it were an ordinary person, what about others whose buildings were also affected, who are also victims in that demolition exercise? We aren't talking about those ones. So must somebody be popular, rich, or famous before we can cry out for them? Why are we only crying out for Mr. Yinka Ayefele? Why are we not also crying out for others who are also victims in that exercise? So let us also check ourselves as members of the public, as masses. Let us not only be asking that Ayefele was wrong, Ajimobi was right, Constituted Authority was right, Ayefele was wrong. We are also wrong on our part. If this building had been contravening the rights of traffic flow and we have not been speaking up, something is wrong with us because it belongs to Ayefele. And if other buildings have been destroyed or demolished by government in the past, now, or in future, and we are not speaking out because it doesn't belong to famous people, something is wrong with us also. So Mr. Yinka Ayefele is a member of this public that we all are. The governor is also from us, public, to have become constituted authority. We too will become something in future. If we don't learn how to speak out now, we will not learn to speak ever. Must somebody be famous before we speak out? No. And that is why we are where we are. If you have been speaking out for those who were not famous in the past, and we are already used to speaking out when something is being done by the government that is wrong, maybe we will not have waited for it, or maybe it will not have even been torn off an Ayefele, because government already knows that people will turn help for everybody, regardless of whether it's Ayefele or anybody. So let us all begin to check ourselves. Let us all begin to ask ourselves questions. And that is the little I have to say tonight before I go to bed. If you have any question, contribution, I would like to read. I don't want to be the only one talking to myself. It's a live show. Yeah, let me read. Henry Smith said, I had the case in court. Are you a lawyer? Are you in the matter? We are interested. We want to know what's up, because we want to also see what the court is likely to say in this matter. After the demolition, would Mr. Yinka Ayefele be compensated? Would he not be compensated? Is the government going to help him resettle or relocate to another location? Or is it a demolition that is outright as a matter of political vendetta? All right. Yeah, Mr. Smith also said, yes, why are they not crying out for other victims in the demolition exercise? I wonder, honestly. And that tells us a lot about ourselves. We'll say God bless you for this. Thank you so much, Mr. Olaomo Nuruddin. Nigeria government are the most stupid government in the world. Well, I do not want to say so, but those are your words. But all of us too have, cause to share in the blame, because if in the course of whatever we're doing, we are not reprimanding government when they are doing it, and it becomes the turn of a famous person before we speak out, we all have share in the blame. So I don't want to see it as the fault of government alone. I want to see it as the fault of all of us. Those that are in government are members of the public too before they became wherever they are in government. So we all have blames. We all have our shares in the blame. Thank you so much. Somebody say LOL and say Emmanuel. Well, whatever you're laughing to. Well, Henry Smith said, yes, they are, and also the citizens. Yes, that's the truth. No law in Nigeria. And no love in Nigeria. Well, we need to address that. All of us need to do something about ourselves. I don't support the compensation for Mr. Ayefele. Mr. Henry Smith, I don't know why you said so, but I believe that if Mr. Yinka Ayefele has proper rights to the building, and then if he has proper approval, I do not see why we should say he doesn't deserve the right to compensation. I don't see that. Well, and then there's also something that is interesting here. Atiku Abubakar is also reacting, and although I saw some reactions to that, people are saying he's just trying to leverage on that for political gain. I don't know, but can somebody not react in peace again? Nigerians, let him react. Anyways, that's the little I have tonight before I go to bed. And I'm sorry once again that it's coming late, especially for Nigerians residing in Nigeria who may have been in bed already. I hope that in future we'll be able to bring our shows to earlier time so that all of us can participate. I just wanted to make sure that this matter doesn't go without me having my analysis or discussion of it before it dies down. That's why I have to say, well, before I go to bed, let me just say something about it. Thank you so much for watching. And is there any new comment that I should talk about? Okay. Mr. Emmanuel, Nigeria government should have conscience. I agree with you. I agree. All of us should also have conscience. Let's start standing up for one another so that things won't go out of hand before we talk next time. And I want to thank you again for coming online to join me on the show today. Until I see you again, don't stop talking about things that matter. My name is Shegun Olo. Keep it locked, share this video, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications when it's back online so that we can continue to share, rub minds like this again, and talk about things that matter. Thank you so much.